Welcome to Sage at Kapi'olani Community College. In this video, we'll take a look at the setup for General Ledger. More than likely, you'll never be involved in setting up a new system in Sage 100, and this is so primarily because most of the Sage installations in Hawaii are now mature and you would likely be taking over somebody else's job who'd been in that job for a while. In doing the activities that are in the Setting Up General Ledger chapter, one of the first ones you encounter is fiscal year maintenance, and you might wonder why you even have such a thing. Well, this is because in many cases, companies may choose to have a unique fiscal year. They may start at July or October or some other month. They may even have a 52-week year where 7 times 52 weeks is 364 days. So each year end, the company's actual date would change by a day or more, depending on whether it's leap year or not. If you have a regular month-based fiscal year, some companies will also do what's known as a period 13. So a 13th period would be used to handle year-end adjustments, for example, from the auditors, or just wrapping up the year so that they could have some space to finish it up while still beginning on the next month's transactions. Another activity that you do in setting up General Ledger is roll-up code maintenance. Roll-up codes in GL Setup are user-defined parameters that you can use to cut across the chart of accounts boundaries. So it's something like classes in QuickBooks. You can set up the roll-up codes based on whatever you want, essentially, and then assign them to particular accounts when you use account maintenance or main account maintenance. So it goes something like this. You go in here, you pick a roll-up type, such as Sales Manager, and then in this gray area here, you enter in Bob Sanders and the next guy, Jane Roberts, etc. And then after having accepted all of them, you also enter in a roll-up type for region and establish region roll-up codes. Memo Manager Maintenance is a structured function in General Ledger that allows you to set up pop-ups, essentially, that are there for when you make entries. Now, we don't have a supervisor type user, but we do have a default type user. And for that default user, when they're asking you to set up specifics for the default user, you would then go ahead and make your stuff match what shows on the page in the curriculum. So account inquiry would be show, account maintenance would be maintain, allocation entry would be hide, and budget maintenance would be maintain, and the rest would be show. And we'd undo everybody so we can get the right guys set up to auto display, and that would be account maintenance and budget maintenance. And they'll auto display, pop up. Now you use account structure maintenance on the chart of accounts in order to configure exactly what sort of a sequence and characteristics you want in your chart of accounts. For Sage, we have a main segment, and that's the main account maintenance we would use to affect that. The department, 2 characters, and the location. So in our case, 655 01 North would be a telephone sales department north location. So one of the things they have you do is almost change the entire structure of your chart of accounts, but we don't actually really want to do that. So they're in here and they say, go ahead and enter in a new segment using this information below. So your type would be alphanumeric, your size would be 2, and the description would be product line. Now, what would this be? This would be like an additional segment added on to the end of our chart of accounts that would mean that every account has the potential to link up with some kind of potential product line. Now, it seems like that might be a good idea, but pretty soon you're going to get to the point where you have these huge number of lines a huge number of accounts and inability to keep up with tagging everything to a product line. That seems like a little bit too detailed. So what it asks you to do in the next page is don't go ahead and do that. But they do show you what would happen if you were to change it. You would go through and do their uh, account structure change wizard, and then you would click accept on everything, and then you'd end up with a whole new chunk of uh, data basically on every account that you have. You don't want to do that, so we definitely want to cancel this. When you're dealing with account group maintenance, you're looking at where it is that each batch of accounts breaks between specific account types that are user defined. In general, the type of account it dictates what the financial statement it will belong on. However, when you set up specific account groups, that specifies what portion of the financial statement it will belong on. So each group uh, starts a range of a type of account. So if you look over here and you see fixed assets starting at 150, they'll go up to 179. And this is our main account group or our main account segment. So what they'll ask you to do then is to add a new section into the account group maintenance. So you'll pick up at the first available row, which is this guy down here with the gray highlight on it, drop in the break range that you want to have inserted in here and type in federal payroll tax liability, and then the category, you got to do a drop down and select, whoops, got to do a drop down and select liabilities. And then as far as account type, we're going to pick current liability, already pre-selected to confine it to those two types, and we're not going to mess with any of the cash flow type. And you can go ahead and do your own for account number 220. Notice that when I click accept and view it again, I'll see my 210 inserted here. So anything from 200 to 209 is a regular current liability. Then we have 210 to 229 federal payroll tax liabilities. And then you're going to go ahead and insert a 220. It'll be state payroll tax liability. So there'll be further breaks inside of there.